Do you want to attract the best people to your organization without sorting through dozens or hundreds of unqualified candidates? Well, that's exactly what I'm going to teach you to do in this video with a few simple tips. If this is the kind of content that you love and you want to see more of, go ahead and hit those like and subscribe buttons down below so that I know I'm giving you what you need to build your high performance organization. If you watched the first video that I ever posted on YouTube, then you'll know that right out of college, my first job, day one, I got asked to come in as a second on an interview. Yep, that's right, my first day on a job and I'm getting asked to interview somebody else. We hired that person. 1 week later, they started. Their first day, I led another interview and I pulled them in as a second. So I've been doing this stuff from the very beginning of my career, and over the years I've learned a lot about the hiring process. And when I started my consulting company, that's one of the things that I help people do, is to figure out how to bring in the best people, because that is the core of building a high performance organization. If you'd like to learn more about the complete process of building a high performance organization, you could check out some of my other videos. Putting these tips into practice with clients, I've actually been able to do some pretty amazing things. One example that I'll throw out there is with one of my first clients, I actually helped him bring on his first employee. He wanted to bring on an intern level person because they'd be inexpensive. So we actually said, whoa, let's slow down. Let's figure out what you want, right? Let's start to stack the deck for your success. And so we wrote out what he wanted and what he needed for his job. And I said, all right, let me go run out with this and do some postings. And I ended up getting back a lot of really great candidates. And we had a few finalists. One of them had, a degree and exactly what we were looking for. They had 10 years of experience. They built out entire departments. He ended up hiring her as a part-time position, which completely satisfied his needs for the salary requirements, and it satisfied her needs, and it created a mutually beneficial situation. Now, I don't advocate at all paying people under what they're worth. In fact, I advocate paying people above market rates, because the truth is the best person, maybe you pay them 20, 30, 40% more, they could do 10 times more than the average person. So let's go out and find those best people and start building that foundation for your high performance organization. Another example of how this stuff works is that I actually used this technique to hire the editor for this video. Now, he doesn't know it yet. I guess he knows now since he's already watched this as he's doing the editing. I've actually posted 2 job descriptions for this video. So this is actually the second editor that I've hired for my videos. Now, in the first video, I didn't really know what I was looking for, and that's going to be one of the points that we're going to talk about real soon. I ended up getting over, say, a dozen submissions in a single day, and a few of them were decent, right? They were, good for, and especially for the money, they were a good value, but I didn't really know what I was looking for. So I brought one of them on, and some of the end results were okay, but the communication was really a challenge for me. So that's why I reached out and figured out what I wanted in the next editor. So when I posted the job description a second time, I made some updates because I had learned a lot. I ended up getting 1 submission in the first week. That's right, I went from 12 in one day to 1 in the first week. But this submission was spot on. It nailed all the criteria. And by the way, Rex, no pressure, but now that I've brought you up, everybody's gonna be watching the quality of this video to see if this stuff actually works. And I will throw a little note out there. Rex has his hands cut out for him because I'm pretty new at this stuff and I make a lot of mistakes at this point. So if this looks clean and seamless, he's knocking it out of the park. But what you don't know is about all the conversation that we had before we even started this video. We talked about keywords, we talked about how to film it correctly, which equipment to use. Those conversations have been super valuable in me creating quality content for you. So the first thing I did when I was writing the job description was I thought about this as a marketing post. Yeah, we're gonna talk a lot about the job description. Even if you're not going to actually post this job, writing a job description is an incredibly valuable tool because it gets you clarity about what you want. And that's the first step in marketing. Marketing is more than just advertising. It's about figuring out who is that audience that you want to attract, understanding exactly who that person is, what that group is that you want to attract. And then the next step is figuring out what's going to attract them. And that's exactly what I did with this job description. I want a person who communicates and is passionate about making great videos and wants to be able to make a name for themselves. And I put all that stuff right into the description. So it's not, look, your typical job description is boring. I want 10 years of experience, I need to know these technologies and blah, 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 blah. Look, I don't care what technology somebody uses to make this video. Who cares? I need an end product. and I need an end product that's going to connect with my viewers. And if they can do that, great. The how, I don't care about as much. What I care about is that person that's focused on that end result and that what that customer wants and what their potential client wants or what that viewer wants. So that's actually step 1 and 2. 1, figure out what your ideal candidate looks like. 2, figure out what's going to attract them. Figure out what's going to bring them into your organization. Now this is a good spot to pause and ask a question, and that is, when you're looking for a job, what is it that you look for? In fact, tell me what you do and what it is that you look for, and drop that in the comments below. And if you are somebody that's writing a job description, maybe you'll be able to find something down there that's going to help you to attract better people to your position. So once you've figured out who it is that you want to attract and what it is that's going to attract them, then you've also got to start thinning the herd, because if you put all this stuff that's just massively attractive out there, everybody's going to apply. And you don't want everybody to apply, you only want the best people to apply. So you need to put something in your job description that's going to filter out candidates, that's going to get people that aren't really committed and aren't really passionate about it to just say, look, this isn't for me. For the right people, you want them to go, oh my God, they're going to get excited about that. So what I did for this video is I asked candidates to submit a clip, a challenging piece of footage that I recorded that had bad color, and I said, look, I don't need a long thing. I need 15 to 30 seconds. Please submit that to me as part of your submission package. And so I think most people said, oh, well, you know, I don't know if I'll really get it. I don't know if I'm the best, or I don't know, maybe it's not worth the work. The people that are going to be serious about this, they're going to want to show me what they can do. And I wrote that in there too. I said, this is your opportunity to show me what you can do. And this is your opportunity to be part of something that I'm intending to be big. If you watch my other videos, you know that that vision and that mission is the first step, other than having good people, in building a high performance organization. That is a core element in saying you know where you want to go. So I included that as well. With just those 3 things, figuring out who your ideal candidate is and being really super crystal clear on that. I cannot stress how much enough. Take your time, because look, it's not the technical specifications. You want to talk about their personality. You want to talk about how they interact with the team. You want to talk about the communication. You want to talk about their attitude. You want to say, look, this is the right type of person, and you want to know that for you, because when you start the interviewing process, which maybe will be another video, I don't know, let me know if you think that's a good thing to put out there. When you start the interviewing process, it's also going to help you, because it's going to set you up to be able to evaluate if those candidates are the right people. And then you start to put in things that attract them. So once you know who that person is, you can say, look, this is what's going to attract them. I want somebody that thrives in challenge. So you can say this job's going to be challenging, and then for the wrong people, it's going to start to cut them out. They're going to say, I don't want a job that's challenging, and you say, well, I don't want you here anyway. And then you say, here's something to make it even harder to apply. So only the best of the best of the best candidates are going to apply, because they're the ones that know this is going to be worth my time, because I know that I'm going to be at the top of the list, because I'm going to submit this and that's going to prove it. So with those 3 things, you can attract the most qualified candidates and minimize your pool of unqualified candidates. If you would like a copy of the job description that I wrote for this video editor position, go ahead and send me an email, and you can find the contact information on our website, which is linked in the description below. I'll even throw in a couple extra tips to help you hire those high performance people. If you enjoyed this video, again, hit those like and subscribe buttons below. That's a great thank you to me, and it lets me know that I'm serving you by delivering content that you're looking for. You can also check out more of our other online videos at these links. Until next time, I'm Jeremy Webb with Organizational Engineering.